Hi, I'm Scott Reed here with Board Game Geek at SN 2012, here with Denis Lonchakov with his new game, Ruthenia.
Yes. So, hi, Scott. This is my first game which we have produced in Ukraine. We can tell it's the first Ukrainian game which moved to the international market.
Okay.
So we had visited Essen first time in the year 2010 with a prototype, and in this year we have already the last edition with a completely renewed art, fixed rules, and the best printed components which we could made in Ukraine.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
So, what about this game? This is a historical game about early medieval in the Eastern Europe. We were playing in the time of 9th, 10th centuries, exactly on the territory of the modern Ukraine. But in that time, this was just a territory which through moves the nomad tribes. And a lot of small countries like Khazars, Ruthenians, Bulgars tried to establish their own states on this place. And no one of them stayed. So all of them were destroyed during the history.
Okay.
So in this game is a 2 or 4 players.
2 or 4 players?
2, 3, 4 players.
2, 3, or 4, okay.
Yes, and you are playing one of these historical states. It's Khazars, Kievan Rus, Bulgars, and the Byzantium. This is the northern province of the Byzantium in Taurica, because mostly the Byzantium was to the south. So the game runs in the rounds. Each round has strict number of phases, so you can build during the first phase. Then you are moving your troops. So to move your troops, you are using special army counters. So each army counter has own commander with special features, and each army has a number of troops which is attached to this army. So when you're fighting, you have a specific number of troops with the specific abilities and the specific commander which is placed in specific territory. So you have set of your regular troops, you can hire mercenary troops, you have a lot of different types of mercenary troops which can be hired during the bureaucracy phase. So you have to pay upkeep for mercenary troops when, for example, for your regular troops you have to pay them once. So in the bureaucracy phase you are also getting income from your provinces, you are getting victory points from the territories you hold, so you are buying and training troops and you are buying and training armies. So the last thing, so the last phase, is the non-player's faction phase. In the non-player faction phase we have some factions which haven't been taken by players. There is always one faction which is played like a computer, so NPC. There's nomads. So they're moving according to special movement action cards, or just according to the dice roll when they are playing, staying somewhere in the center of the map. So this mechanic allows to play this game with the 2 people. So the special thing of the non-player faction mechanics is this game is that you can play it with 2 players, but the other factions will participate in the game as an NPC, and they will have a big influence of the map, so on the game flow. And the thing that when you play the game with 4 players, the game is different than you play with 2 players or with 3 players.
Sure.
Yeah. So the other thing of this game that you have each faction has own strategy. So the factions have different balance, and playing another faction, you have to choose another strategy, and you have to choose how to behave with your neighbors. So that's the point. It's playing each time with a new faction. You are playing each time a new game.
Okay. quick question, just to, you told us that this is good for 2 to 4. About how long does a game take?
So for 2 players, this game takes 2 hours. For
Okay.
4 players, this game takes usually, for 2 players, this game takes 1 hour. For
1
2
hour.
players, this game takes 2 hours.
Okay.
And but if you're playing first time, it can take up to 3 hours.
Sure. Okay. Still, yeah, good. So 60 to 180 minutes, depending
Okay.
on experience and how many players you have playing.
So about the experience of playing this game. So it's typically the newcomers, people who are playing just the cards games. This game will not be suitable for them.
Uh-huh.
But this game is again okay for the people who are not playing war games.
Yeah.
They're still not playing war games, but they don't want to play some easy games.
Right.
So this is a game of the middle complexity.
Right. So this is a medium weight, medium to heavy-ish game.
Yes.
Okay. I understand that. From where does the Ruthenia? I'm unfamiliar with that term. What's that?
So Ruthenia is a Latin term. It is a Latin name of the Rus.
Okay.
So the Rus is a Greek name. So Rus is was one of the tribes which established this state, Kievan Rus. And the Kievan Rus is a state which comes from the history of Ukraine. So we are carrying your history from this state. It's the first thing which was written in the chronics from Byzantium and the own chronics.
Okay.
So that's why I decided to make a game in the historical period, which is first time merged in the history. So,
Okay.
and the other thing that there typically not much information about this period, especially for example about Khazars, because this empire existed about 2 centuries or 3 centuries, and then they were completely destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same. So Bulgars are more known, but the first Bulgarian empire was exactly destroyed in the same time frame by Byzantium. When the Russian empire was destroyed, Ruthenia was destroyed by the Mongolian invasion.
Okay.
So just the Byzantium were kept as Turks invasion.
Okay. Now, when I was reading over the rules here, I remember that you have, if I remember correctly, your combat system has you take your commander
Yes.
and your troops and line them up to.
Yeah.
Could you explain some of
One
that?
more thing we have here, so you are playing a strategy game on the board map, but you also playing small combats,
Right.
so small war games using your troop cards. So you have 4 main troops. It's a heavy cavalry, and heavy infantry. Also line infantry, support troops,
Okay.
and check to find someone, and light cavalry.
Okay.
And each of these troops has advantage against other types of troops. So when you start your game, you have just set of your regular troops,
Right.
which are of 2 types. For example, Byzantium has heavy cavalry and light infantry. They then have heavy infantry and light cavalry. So this group of troops is not balanced against specific factions. But it's already balanced against other factions. So during your game, you have prepare your armies, buying more troops of different types, and exactly knowing which army is staying close to you, so which neighbor is staying close to you. That's your strategy of the hiring. So when you're playing the battle, you're getting your pile, all your piles which are engaged. For example, several armies which are staying in the province, they can be engaged in the same battle. For example, there's 2 commanders and 1 Bulgarian commander. For example, Bulgarian commander has several troops, and the Byzantium has also several troops, but they also have some mercenaries. For example, so to simulate a battle, you are placing your troops in a front line. So you're building a line of 2 troops, 2 main troops, and you are building a reserve, the second troop. Then you are disclosing your front line, And the player who has initiative is typically the player who attacks the province of someone, so of other player. He chooses which troop to use to attack. For example, here, if Romans have the initiative, they check in which troops enemy has in the line. They're choosing the best troop to engage the enemy. For example, this troop is more huge than the enemy line infantry, and it has also advantage against heavy cavalry. So it's the best choice in this way. So the enemy has to choose one of the troops for defense. For example, this troop is balanced in defense, so you can have a tie situation in this case. Then, if you have support troops, for example, you can enhance your armies. There are several different cases how you can enhance your armies. There are support troops, then a set of action cards. Typically we have red action cards and yellow action cards for enhancement. So yellow action cards influence the whole battle, changing the main rules of the battle. When the red action cards enhance you during the clash, specific conflict. And one more thing which we have is this card set. Probably we have left it. Okay, so one more set, we have a tactics card which you use for enhancement. It's a simulation of the training of your troops.
Okay.
And so one more option, for example, if your commander has some advanced tactics option, you can also enhance your troops using this card. So you have 4 options, and you can get up to 4 points more during the battle. So probably if your unit losing the battle using your standard points, you can enhance your unit using advantages, especially if your enemy is already out of advantage cards, so out of enhancement cards. That's the point. You have to build your strategy, how you prepare your armies before the battle. So you are not just buying troops, you are training troops, buying the tactics card. So you are also having some action cards which should already, so you should have some tactics cards for this purpose, just in your hand. And you are playing some different combinations. For example, if in case of veterans, you just need to have 4 tactics cards to get an advantage.
Okay.
In other cases, for example, you have several different cards in the line to play in a combo. For example, to play mounter movement from light cavalry. So about the gameplay and comments. Typically, if you're playing first 2 rounds, you're playing just on the strategy map. When you're coming close to the borders, you begin to start small conflicts with your neighbors, and you're playing small clashes. But sometimes player can choose a strategy when they build the big pile of the army and keeping them till the end of the game when they're trying to assault some home province. Because if you assault a home province of another player successfully, you're getting additional victory points. It's probably your winning strategy in the game. That's one point, that you can have several winning strategies. You can just get as more territories as possible, and if you're getting 8 territories, the game is over and you're collecting your victory points for the mass number of territories. If you are just losing some action cards, you're building temples and investing money in the temples, you're getting more victory points during the game. So if you're playing battles, you're gaining victory points from the battle results.
Right.
So you can choose your strategy at the beginning of the game and go strict according to the strategy. Because the game, typically it runs around 4 or 5 rounds, because after that time the players come into the end on the victory points track, or someone of the players is going to be defeated and his or her province is going to be captured, so conquered.
Okay.
So that's the most about the game strategies.
Excellent, excellent. Well, this looks very interesting. Like I said, when I read over the rules, I like the combat seemed a very interesting aspect of the game, having to sort of work with the mercenaries and the balance between what your faction can do and what your neighboring faction do, and sort of working with the balance between them. So this all looks very interesting.
Yes, and I hope you will enjoy it also.
Is there anything final you'd like to say? Just to, I don't know. Anything else important we should know about this game?
Sorry?
Anything else important we should know about this game?
So one important thing about this game is that we have only 90 copies here in Essen, and we have under 20 copies at all in the production.
Okay.
So, and we don't have more.
Okay, so this is a very small run.
Yes, it is a very small run. And one point that we are looking for a publisher for this game.
Sure.
For the publisher who can take this game for US, for Europe.
Yeah.
And we are open for discussions, so you can call me, you can come to our booth here in Essen.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. Well, this all looks very interesting. I would like to see this spread. I'd like to see I'd like to see somebody take this game and do more with it, and publish it further, because it does look like this is a very interesting game that would fit in with the with what a lot of our users like as far as game weight and complexity and theme. So wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
So thank you very much, Scott.
Pleasure.